The blizzard hit the Cascades with a violence that felt personal. Elias, a man whose entire life revolved around the sensory experiences of taste and smell as a high-end food critic, found his world reduced to blinding white and biting cold. His car was buried miles back. He was walking toward a faint orange glow in the distance, the only anchor in a swirling sea of ice. The glow belonged to a cabin, squat and sturdy against the mountain's flank. Smoke curled invitingly from the chimney, carrying a scent that stopped Elias in his tracks, cutting through the frozen air. It was savory, rich, and impossibly deep. It smelled like safety. It smelled like home. He pounded on the heavy oak door. It opened slowly, revealing a diminutive woman, perhaps 70 years old, wrapped in thick wool shawls. Her eyes, surprisingly bright in a face mapped by wrinkles, widened. "Land's sakes, boy, you look like a frozen ghost. Get in before the wind takes the door." Her name was Martha. The cabin inside was a cluttered nest of drying herbs, old books, and antique cast iron. But Elias's attention was magnetized by the large pot simmering on the wood stove. The aroma was intoxicating. It was earthy, meaty, with a sweetness he couldn't quite place, like caramelized root vegetables mixed with something primal. "You're hungry," Martha stated, not asking. She ladled a thick, dark stew into a wooden bowl. "My special recipe. Been in the family since these mountains were the only law." Elias, shivering violently, accepted the bowl. The steam warmed his face. He took the first spoonful. His eyes rolled back. It wasn't just good. It was a revelation. The meat was incredibly tender, falling apart into succulent strands that melted on his tongue. The broth had a complexity that defied his professional palate, layers of umami that triggered endorphins he didn't know he had. It tasted like survival. It tasted like the most important meal he'd ever eaten. "My God, Martha," Elias gasped between ravenous bites. "What is this meat? Venison? Bear? It's transcendent." Martha smiled from her rocking chair in the corner. The firelight cast long, dancing shadows across her face. "Oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The mountain provides, dear. The mountain always provides for those who know where to look." Elias finished the bowl and immediately craved more. A deep, unsettling hunger woke in his gut, a hunger that felt ancient. He asked for seconds, then thirds. With each bowl, his mind felt foggier, yet his senses sharpened. He could hear the wind howling outside, but he could also hear the rhythmic thump-thump of Martha's rocking chair, and quieter, scratchier sounds coming from beneath the floorboards. "It's the best thing I've ever tasted," Elias murmured, feeling a strange warmth spreading through his limbs, a heavy lethargy. "I need the recipe. I could make you famous." Martha chuckled, a dry sound like autumn leaves skittering on pavement. "Famous? No, boy. Some secrets aren't meant for the lowlands. Some tastes stay up here." By the fourth bowl, Elias realized something was wrong. He wasn't getting full, he was getting needy. The flavor was addictive, scratching an itch in the deepest, most reptile part of his brain. He looked at the meat remaining in his bowl. The grain of it was tight, the muscle fibers short. It didn't look like deer. "Martha," Elias said, his voice thick, "where do you keep your stock? The blizzard has been raging for days. How do you have fresh meat?" The rocking stopped. "I told you, the mountain provides. Sometimes it provides lost things." The silence in the cabin became heavier than the snow outside. The scratching sound beneath the floorboards grew louder. It sounded like fingernails on wood. Elias stood up, swaying. The intoxicating warmth had turned into a fever. He needed to know. He walked toward the back of the cabin, toward a heavy door draped in a quilt. "Don't go down there, Elias," Martha said, her voice devoid of the earlier warmth. Driven by a horrific curiosity that outweighed his fear, Elias threw open the door. A rough set of stairs led down into a root cellar. The smell wafted up, iron, damp earth, and something coppery and sweet, the raw ingredients of the stew. He descended. He held up his flash, using the flashlight. The cellar was cold. Hanging from meat hooks suspended from the low ceiling were not sides of venison. They were shapes that were disturbingly familiar, though flayed and dressed with the precision of a master butcher. In the corner, huddled against the dirt walls, sat a figure, a hiker, judging by the shredded technical gear. He was alive, but his eyes were vacant, broken by terror and something else, resignation. He was missing a calf muscle. The wound was bandaged cleanly. Elias stared at the hanging shapes, then down at his own hands still holding the wooden spoon. The horror should have broken him. He should have vomited. He should have run up the stairs and into the deadly blizzard. But the smell from the upstairs kitchen drifted down, that rich, incomparable, savory scent. His stomach growled violently. The horror faded, replaced by the overwhelming, addictive craving that Martha's cooking had awakened. The civilized food critic died in that cellar. Elias turned away from the terrified hiker in the corner. He walked slowly back up the stairs, his eyes adjusting to the dim light of the cabin. Martha was standing by the stove, stirring the pot. She looked at him, her expression unreadable. Elias walked past her to the table and sat down with his empty bowl. He looked up at her, his eyes dark, devoid of humanity, filled only with the terrible new-found hunger.